After awakening and coming into our true selves and realizing our true selves and knowing that our divinity pervades everything, and we see that this divinity within us is the divinity of all things. After this process occurs, after we realize that we are the divinity in all things, we are the truth in all things, we are the realization of God, of light, of love, of truth. After we become the truth of our beings, after we become the truth of our divinity, after we become the truth of all things, what are we? What are we? After the awakening, what are we? After the knowing, what are we? After the consciousness arises, what are we? Do we become one? Do we become truth? Do we become peace? Do we become love? Do we know that this is the essence of everything that ever was and ever will be? And we just sink into that realization and that knowing now. So there's nothing else to be, to feel, to contemplate, to experience. Do we just sink into that knowingness of our divinity, of our truth, of our peace, of our love? Do we just become that, accept that, realize that, revel in that? Is our state of oneness completion? Are we done once we've realized our oneness? Is there a doneness? I am one with all things. I am the truth of all consciousness. I am the peace. I am the love. I am the pervasion of my own true self into the divinity of all things. When we come to those moments and we come to those states and we come to those realizations and we accept that within our being and we feel that within our being and we know that within our being, but we're still living in this 3D reality, aren't we? We're still walking in the world in consciousness and truth and grace and peace and love, but we're still walking in the world. We're still in human consciousness. And we still have a body of light, a body of beingness, a body of grace. We're still a part of humanity, aren't we? We're still a part of this human consciousness. We're still a part of this race, this culture. So what happens after the awakening? What happens after we've realized our oneness and our truth and our divinity and our peace and our love? What we want to talk about today is coming back into the world in a new state, in a new consciousness, with a new grace, with a new peace, with a new love. Walking back into the world as the true divine self that we are. Walking back into the world with the love of our essence, with the love of our divinity. Walking back into the world as this grace that we've realized within our beings. And experiencing humanity. Experiencing the love of humanity. Experiencing the openness that can be experienced here, experiencing the knowingness that we've held sacred within our beings for so long. So in consciousness and grace and truth and divinity and love, can we come back into the world and re-experience the world from this place of acceptance, of knowingness, of compassion? And in that re-experiencing of the world, can we have all those fun and joyful things that the world is experiencing? I find that there's a misconceptualization about the spiritual path, about spirituality, about once we've reached a certain state, we can't do certain things anymore. We can't enjoy certain things anymore. We can't have or allow us to have certain things anymore. Why not? Think about that. Why not? If you've come into a state of full awakening, of full grace, of full knowingness within yourself that you are the truth of all things, why can't you enjoy the things of this beautiful world? Why can't you enjoy the things that are given to us here in this 3D reality? Right? So we see saints, we see enlightened beings, and if they have a lot of wealth around them, what is our perception of them? Just ask yourself that question. What is your perception of that being? Do they have to be beggars? Do they have to have nothing except the clothes on their back? Does that have to be how one who has realized the self lives? Why is that? Why have we accepted that as the truth? So ask yourself the question, I am enlightened. Say, I'm enlightened. I'm in my true self. I'm in my true divine self. I'm living a life of joy, peace, love. I want to come back into this world and experience everything there is to experience from this perspective of light. I want to come back into the world and experience everything there is to experience from this perspective of my highest state of bliss. What do you want to experience? Is it okay to experience fun things? Is it okay to have a lover? Is it okay to be delving into life in that way? Is it okay to experience the divinity of your true self with another being? So I ask just that we wash away all misperceptions of what the world has to look like and what saints and realized beings have to be in the world. Because if we've all come to this beautiful divine place called the earth to live and to experience, why would one who becomes awakened have to deny that experience to themselves? Why, if one becomes awakened to the truth of their own divine being, why does the world become something that they cannot perceive in the highest grace of the world? Is it okay for them to be wealthy? Is it okay for them to have all the things that they want and they need? Is it okay for them to have a lover? Is it okay for you to have a lover? Ask yourself the question. Is it okay for me to live in wealth? If I become awakened and enlightened to my true self, to my true divine being, is it okay for me to enjoy the experiences this world has to offer in the ways that it calls to me? I ask that we remember who we truly are from this deep place within our own divinity. And from this awakened state, come back into the world. See what's available to us. See what we can consciously receive and give and acknowledge. Can we just live just like a human being, but from the highest aspect of ourselves? Can we just walk in the world as a human being, doing whatever we choose to do from this highest perspective of divinity? Do we have to look a certain way? Do we have to act a certain way? Do we have to follow certain rules? Or can we just be divine in this beautiful place that we're calling home? So I think a re-examining needs to happen of this state, of this awakened state, of this enlightened state. So that as we walk the world with all of humanity, the grace of our presence, is what brings divinity into all situations that we see. Not needing to be a certain way, follow certain rules, be poor, not have. What about just the grace of our presence, becoming the essence of all things in this moment and free? Contemplate yourself, what it means to be awakened in the world. Contemplate yourself, what it means to feel full divinity in your own truth, in your own love, as you walk through the world, as you bring yourself back into the world. Meshivakuru sarate. Nukuru tanda aliyatakarashavakurutu. Haratanda aliyatakarashavakaramase. Higamba rete. Meroko. Meshivakuru.
Love is all you ever need.